I am taking Humpty Dumpty and arranging it like to extreme levels.
Let's get this party started.
Actually, resumed.
I'm here to help you create great music. I'm talking about Stravinsky level type of music.
Okay, today we continue our saga in getting Humpty Dumpty and transforming to something absolutely different. I want to do a quick recap where we are. First, the very first thing, arranging is about respecting a limit, a boundary, a threshold. That boundary separates what's a totally different composition to an arrangement. Usually, the boundary lives on the melody and on the lyrics. You can change melody, but you have to have some criteria, giving signals to remember the listener. I'm still listening to Humpty Dumpty or whatever is the original song. So that's the first thing. You have to respect the boundary according to your commitment. I want to go as far away from the original, or I just want to do instrumentation, just put into some genre. That's the limit. The second thing is about creating vacuum and then opportunities. What I mean by vacuum is pretty much removing elements from whatever you have to create opportunities to introduce different ideas onto the same thing. For example, the first thing that we did was remove the ternary pattern to go to a more quaternary pattern, and almost like accidentally it started sounding like Brazilian jazz, and I said, you know what, let's move to that direction. That was the opportunity. Vacuum can be created removing different types of elements. Sometimes you just remove the harmony completely, leave just the bass and the melody. Sometimes you leave just the melody, remove everything else. Sometimes you remove the melody so you can re-understand the harmony in a different way, but usually just by removing some little element like we did, removing roots of the A major tone, we started listening to this suspended mood, and then we went into that direction, right? All that being said, let's see where we are right now. This sounds like a Brazilian jazz for sure. We could stop right here. That's my arrangement. I got Humpty Dumpty and put into a Brazilian jazz. But of course, no, we're not going to stop here. Today I want to move away from the genre. Again, it's about vacuum, creating opportunities. We're going to create a vacuum here, meaning the convention here is pretty much all the rhythm elements and a little bit of the harmony that usually is a fingerprint on a Brazilian, typical Brazilian jazz. So I have, for example, one of the symbols is like this. This is typically a rhythm pattern in Brazilian music. So if we want to move away from a genre, we have to start removing these conventions. To be honest, on purpose, by design, I don't know where we're going to, but I want to explore the idea of creating vacuum and opportunity. So the first thing we're going to do to move away from this genre is remove the drums. Let's do that. So if we're left with this, I still have my bass as a fingerprint in Brazilian jazz. Tum, 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 tum. I still hear this tum, 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 tum. What I want to do is remove that too. So again, we're moving away because creating vacuum will create opportunities. Let's just make this literally squared. Let's change that too. Let's just make it literally squared. Alright, I can see the same structure on the chords. Alright, so by now we should listen this and have a less feeling of a Brazilian jazz. Okay, it's clearly very square. I removed a bunch of this feeling of a Brazilian jazz. So I'm gonna do here, change the instruments. Right now, I will put anything, it doesn't matter. What I want is to move away from this jazz trio. So I put some instruments in each track here, almost like randomly. If we move to strings, we'll be more neutral for now, and we'll open some opportunities. We start listening things that we could not listen before. So I just put a cello as the main theme, some horns as the body of the harmony. Let's hear how it is. It's gonna be radically different. Of course, this is terrible yet, but at least, as you can probably notice, we start hearing some opportunities here, because the melody works as a solo in strings, and the body of the chords, the body of the harmony also works in the brass, and the bass, I think we need to work on that. But again, we are moving away. That's the goal here. What else we can do? Of course, the solo here is not sounding like a cello at all, because there are too many pauses, so we're gonna just fill some gaps here, have something that sounds a little more like a cello. It's very important that you sing what you're listening as you do this type of work, okay? If you arrange or composing, you have to sing. That's why I say so many times that it's one of those skills that is absolutely worth investing time. What is voice for humans? That's our natural instrument. You don't have to sing beautifully, but if you invest your time in improving your vocal skills, everything comes very natural when you work in compositions or arrangements. So let's see where we are now. But I see something interesting here. Again, opportunities. This little pause here makes a lot of difference. So let's make this pause there too. Okay, here we have a problem. This is not very natural for cellos, right? So we have two options. We have to make this completely legato like this, which will, again, we're talking about the boundaries, right? Will touch one of those boundaries. So what I'm gonna do is take the liberty to make an ornament, something like this. All right, that sounds a lot better. I don't know you guys, but I feel like this bass should be pizzicato. Do you guys agree? And we have something that resembles an orchestration. By any means, this is a decent orchestration, but at least give us a kind of a little glimpse of what would be if we moved towards a more orchestra-oriented arrangement. Maybe not a regular orchestration. That would take a long time. This video would be hours. We're not doing that here, but at least a little bit. Like, we want to have a feeling that this could be properly written for orchestra. So we're gonna do just the bass. If you listen to this, this still sticks to the form of the original children's song, except that's not a ternary rhythm anymore. But it's still like, it's regular, it's flat, it's plain, there's no dynamics. So we need to have the proper canvas, we need to have the proper environment, which includes changing the form. So what we're going to do now is very simple. We're gonna double this thing, or maybe triple this thing, so I have the proper space to do this type of development, right? And one thing that we probably have to do is duplicate the tracks, because at some point this harmony block will not be a very rigid format that harmony happens here. No, it's not. It doesn't work like that. Like when you orchestrate, the harmony is the sum of everything. It doesn't have to be stick with one group of musicians. It doesn't have to be even vertical. I had this idea that we could use this first part as sort of an introduction type of thing. Then we expose the theme here, and there will be some development here, right? The harmony is not going to be cheesy like this after all. We want just the right canvas, a framework. I think that's the word I'm looking for. A framework with the proper instrumentation. That's what we have right now. Alright, this is definitely cheesy, a little bit on the corny side, which is okay at this stage. But we have a basic orchestration here. We are not worried about having the best plugins, the best orchestration here. That's not the point of this whole series. The point of this whole series is modifying, experimenting, and creating without the creation, as I said before. We're just exercising the shaping here. And what I mean by shaping, we're talking about harmony, melody, rhythm, form, and a little bit on the texture, which kind of includes orchestration.
Yeah, we played with rhythm, we played with harmony, we changed the genre, but I feel like we're not being disobedient enough. You should come back next Sunday. And don't forget, composers disobeying. Oh yeah.